What's up guys, today we'll be doing a review on a recent K-drama that has skyrocketed its popularity to #1 in not only the US, but to many countries all over the world. Yes, I am talking about All of Us Are Dead, the recent zombie K-drama that has taken the world by storm. Now, this goes without saying, but this will be a spoiler-filled review, so here's your spoiler alert, and if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, as it will be surely worth your time. I'm not going to be paraphrasing every single episode or going into every little tiny detail, but instead I'll be covering the 3 things that I loved about the drama and the 3 things that I hated about the drama. Now before diving into those things, I'll be giving a quick summary on what the drama is all about. This takes place at Hyosan High School, where a zombie outbreak occurs, and follows our main group of students who must survive and make it out to the safe zone. And them being high school students and young adolescents, along the way they learn a whole lot about themselves, but also about the grim truth of the world around them. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the 3 things that I loved the most about this drama. Social commentary. Now, K-dramas love to input social commentary where it fits in seamlessly, and this K-drama is no exception. With this particular K-drama, they liken the zombie outbreak to that of the COVID-19 pandemic that has ravaged the world. They talk a lot about the discrimination that takes place. A lot of the Hyosan residents are trying to flee to other neighboring cities and regions, but those regions don't want them. And it likens it a lot to the anti-Asian discrimination that has extremely skyrocketed during the pandemic. It continues to be at an extremely high level. There's also a mention of fake news during the drama, and that really needs no explanation at all, because there's always mentions of fake news about the pandemic and the vaccines and whatnot. So it was really nice to see these similarities between these 2 separate worlds being likened to each other. Now, an extra social commentary piece that hits home more for the Korean audience is that of the Sewol ferry tragedy of 2014. Now, during that tragedy, a ferry from Incheon to Jeju Island tipped over, and many hundreds of lives were lost, and a majority of these lives were high school students. Yellow ribbons are a major signifier of that ferry tragedy, and we see at the end of this drama how there's a remembrance tree of all the lives that are lost, and a lot of the names and messages of the victims were written on yellow ribbons. And this definitely is no coincidence, as it definitely hits home with the Korean viewer a lot more than any non-Korean viewers, because of how much they can relate to something that actually happened in real life. Not only that, we also see a scene at the school where one of our main characters, Namra, is bit by a zombie, but Soo-hyuk, who doesn't believe that she is turning into a zombie, decides to tie his wrist to her wrist to let the others know that if indeed she turns, that he will sacrifice his life and be bitten by her so that the others can escape. And this is very similar and tragic to something that happened during the ferry tragedy, where a body of a boy and girl were found with their life vests tied together because they didn't want to drift away from each other. And as tragic and sad as that is, it's no coincidence that this tiny scene was put in. And I feel like the little nuances of social commentary that were put into this drama were done very well to allow the viewer to really be immersed and emotionally attached to all the events that took place during this drama. Moving on, we have themes of hope and friendship. Now, these 2 themes are present throughout the entirety of the drama, and are 2 of the major reasons why the students that survived this outbreak are alive at the very end. Now, first off, we have to focus on the idea of friendship. Throughout the entirety of the drama, we see mentions of having each other's back and being together, sticking together, and not breaking away from the group, and that they are stronger as one rather than being separated. And we see that the characters that kind of stray away from this theme of friendship end up being caught by the zombies and dying as a result. You look at examples like Na-Yeon, who really is pretty selfish and only looks out for herself and doesn't really care about the ones around her. She ends up dying. And then later on, you see Ji-min, who sees her friend Hyo-rung, who is on the floor, and sees a zombie coming and decides to value her own life more rather than saving her friend's life, who was pretty close to her throughout the duration of the drama. But as a result of choosing her life over her friends, she ends up being broken away from the group, and as a result, becomes a zombie herself. But, I mean, Hyo-rung, like, this girl, I swear she had like 2 left feet or something, because she kept falling like every other episode. Like, I think Ji-min just got fed up to a point where it was just like, you know what, peace out, I'm out of here, good luck. But because of her not looking out for her friend, Ji-min eventually became a zombie herself. So we see how important the idea of friendship and staying loyal to each other is something that really keeps the spirits up, but also allows them to live and survive throughout this drama. Now, the other theme of hope is also extremely strong throughout this drama. More importantly, we see a scene where our main characters are all huddled around a campfire on the school rooftop. And although this is a very nice, wholesome type of scene, the campfire itself resembles both hope and friendship. Resembling friendship because they're all huddled around a circle, sharing stories and confessing things to one another, really foundations of true friendship between friends. But it also signifies hope because of the fire that's still lit, that because the fire is there, we still have hope, and that there's still a possibility that they'll make it out alive. And Namra even says how much she enjoys this fire, and that hopefully one day they'll be able to do this again. And fast forward to the ending, where we see her friends meeting her again by a campfire, really brings this theme of hope into full circle. Now, I mentioned earlier about yellow ribbons being a big signifier of the Seoul ferry tragedy. Within this drama, we see Anjo's dad, who will do everything he can to get to his daughter and make sure she's safe. He ties golden yellow ribbons on trees along the way towards the school, so that the kids, when he eventually gets to them, have a path to bring them to safety where there are no zombies. And the yellow ribbons, the golden yellow ribbons, I don't think that was a coincidence of why the director and production staff chose that, to literally light a path and guide them, a path of hope for them to escape. But however, along this path of hope, when Anjo and her friends are escaping, she stumbles upon her dad's flashlight. And do I think that that was not on purpose, that it was a flashlight? Obviously that was not a coincidence. It's just a metaphor that's signifying that the flashlight is literally guiding her and her friends towards safety, and also acts as a remembrance piece of her father, as her father sacrificed his life so that way she and her friends could escape to safety. Another thing is that throughout the drama, the kids all feel like the adults and the government officials have really given up to them. And this relates, as I mentioned, to the social commentary before of the adults that fail the kids on the ferry because they act too slow. Within this drama, we see that how the kids continue to lose hope in adults and them coming to save them out of this tragedy. And when we see other examples throughout the drama of hope still being there, of course, I already mentioned Anjo's dad, who risks his life to make sure his daughter is safe. And we also see other examples. We see Miss Park from the school, who ensures that the kids are safe and will do everything in her power and leaves a lasting message to always look out for one another. We also see another example of the detective, who saved not only one of the high school students' babies, but also a little girl that he finds on the streets of Hyosan, and acts as an other symbol of adults looking out for kids, so that there is hope still in the world that they can make it out alive. So I felt that these examples were all very good in signifying how hope and friendship are extremely important themes that last throughout the entire drama. Namra, what a queen. But in my opinion, she is definitely the most interesting character of the entire cast. Now, the reason for that is because she develops the most throughout the entire drama. see that the main characters in this drama are Chong-san and Eun-Jo, but they're pretty much natural-born leaders because of how much initiative and ideas that they throw out there for their group to survive. Now with Namra, she starts off as this very cold, aloof, and shy character. Now even though she's class president, a lot of the students don't really see her as that because her mom gave the school a lot of money so that she would become class president. So as a result, they don't really respect her that much, and because of that, she naturally just doesn't really gel with the students around her and really keeps to herself for the most part. But with this outbreak in place and her becoming part of the group, we see her slowly start taking initiative and leadership, guiding her friends to safety, offering ideas where she sees fit. And because of that, we see her character develop more and more into this person we want to see to continue growing. Now eventually she's bitten by Gwi-Nam and becomes a Hanbi herself, where she's half human, half zombie. But unlike Gwi-Nam, she uses her powers for good, where she mainly wants to protect her friends and uses her superhuman powers to be aware of zombies that are around her, the group, and when Gwi-Nam is close by so that way they can prepare to defend against him. On the flip side, she's still half zombie, so every now and then she gets zombie cravings and wanting to bite her fellow friends because zombies still have hunger and they still need to eat and they want to eat other humans as a result. And we see her constantly struggle, especially in the second half of this drama, where she's fighting against her cravings so that she can protect her friend. All until the final episode where we see herself sacrifice her opportunity to get into the safe zone and runs away so that she does not put her friends in jeopardy. It really shows the amount of growth her character has had from the moment where she really didn't care about anyone to now always looking out for her friends and becoming a very integral piece and reason as to why they were all able to survive. Now, even though she runs away, we see how she is reunited with friends at the high school rooftop where they gather around the campfire. And it's revealed that there are other people just like her. She has been with them this whole time while her friends have been in the safe zone. Now, despite Eun-Jo and the others still wanting her to come back to them, she says that she still has things that she needs to do. And we are left with the final scene of her jumping off the rooftop, potentially toward other Hanbis just like her as they are approaching. And in a way, the reason why her character is so interesting is because in a way this season was an origin story of her character of sorts. And we are led to believe that she is now the main character as we head on to a potential season 2, where we focus on her journeys and her stories as a Hanbi and how she will use those powers, hopefully for good, in order to carry this story on further as we figure out what happens to this group of Hanbis. Now, the 3 things that I hated about this drama. Empty characters. Specifically, I'm talking about Jimin as well as Min-jae, who is the archer friend of Hari. And the reason why they're empty is because I felt like the writers just wanted to find a reason to kill them off. When they all got separated, when the group got into the gymnasium, no one ever mentions or asks where they are. And it's kind of crazy because you think if you were all trying to survive a zombie apocalypse and you're in a group, you're like, hey, where's person A, person B? But no, there's no mention of them, and yeah, they both end up dying. I just felt like the writers just wanted to find some way to kill off these characters because they felt that they weren't that important to the overall storyline. And I don't know, I feel like they didn't deserve to go that way because although they were more so supporting characters, they did make their own contributions, and it just didn't feel right that their deaths were kind of meaningless. Eun-Ji and Gwi-Nam. Now, at the very start of this drama, we see Gwi-Nam as one of the main characters of the bully group, and he bullies Eun-Ji as well as a few others. We see him bully Jin-soo, who is the science teacher's son, as well as 2 other characters, one of them being Eun-Ji. And he and the other bullies sexually assault her and take a video of her and actually schedule to post it the following day, which was the day of the zombie apocalypse. But they obviously didn't know that. However, Eun-Ji finds out that they have this video and does everything in her power to make sure that she destroys his phone. And in the process, she becomes a Hanbi, much like Gwi-Nam and Namra. After she destroys all the phones, she uses the powers for really no major reason. She just goes around as a half human, half zombie and just does whatever the hell she wants. It seems like her storyline doesn't contribute anything to the overall storyline. Throughout the entire drama, we were waiting for that eventual battle between her and Gwi-Nam, because obviously she hates him for everything that he did to her. Yet, we don't see her actively try to look for him. We know that when you become a Hanbi, you have these major senses where, like Namra, she can listen through walls through the other side of the school where she hears Eun-Ji throwing up, or she knows when Gwi-Nam is approaching. Yet, Eun-Ji, even though she has these same characteristics, doesn't really utilize them the way we feel like her character would and should. And we end up not getting that battle that we wanted between the two, and we don't see her getting her revenge that she deserved. But instead we're left with, we don't even know if Eun-Ji survives, because she is basically researched upon to hopefully find a cure for this outbreak, and we don't know if they kill her off or she's alive or not. Gwi-Nam as well, we don't know if he's dead or not, because that dude has thick plot armor, and I mean thick. I mean, Gwi-Nam's is the dude who has the thickest plot armor and wears around a hairstyle that he thinks actually looks good. But we don't honestly know if he's dead or not. So maybe we get that battle in a potential season 2, but it's still very disappointing that we did not see that confrontation take place at any point during season 1. Na-Yeon. Now, I, as much as the next person, despised Na-Yeon. She's your typical wealthy rich girl who has been spoon-fed her entire life and is very selfish because of this. Throughout the early stages of this drama, we see her always freak out on her fellow friends and is very critical of others but never self-reflective. And obviously this leads up to her eventually literally murdering In-soo by putting zombie blood into his cut, just to make sure that she's right, because she called him out for being effective even though she was wrong at first. And he eventually turns, and it's extremely sad. And it makes the audience, all of us, just hate her guts, and deservedly so. However, we flash forward towards the second half of the drama where she breaks off from the group and Miss Park chases after her, because as a teacher she wants to look out for every single student. And we see her get trapped in the music room and Miss Park sacrificing her life so that way she could live. Before Miss Park turns, she tells Na-Yeon that she should look out for her friends and do anything she can to help them out. It's a very lasting message for Na-Yeon as she finds shelter within the storage area of the music room. From that point on, we know the characters end up in the music room, but they don't know that she's within the storage area. And she's about to come out to them at first, but of course the writers do her dirty and have the entire group start shit-talking her just as she's about to come out. And obviously, as a human being, who would come out after you hear all that stuff talked about you? Now eventually our characters make it up to the rooftop, but before they do that, they record sort of diary entries within the camcorder in case that they die and someone ends up finding this, so that way they have a way of getting their stories out. And after our characters escape to go to the rooftop, Na-Yeon gets a hold of the camcorder and she sees how Chung-san takes the blame for Kyung-soo's death and never once mentions that it was Na-Yeon's fault. She eventually thinks back to what Miss Park told her of looking out for her friends and just doing something to contribute and help them out. And she realizes all the wrong that she did and that she needs to atone. So she starts packing up a tote bag full of food, drinks, and supplies to eventually make it to the rooftop and meet up with her friends and show them how sorry she is. But of course, as she exits and tries to do this, Gwi-Nam comes into the picture and kills her. And I just feel like that is such lazy writing. There's this whole character arc built up for her where everyone hates her guts, yet she realizes and we see her becoming a very good character who can honestly contribute to the group. I'm not saying to keep her alive through the whole drama. Perhaps she sacrifices her life you know, to save one of her classmates, or she makes a major contribution to help them get to safety. There could have been so many alternative scenarios that could have been put into the drama, but instead we have this cheap kill that Gwi-Nam has for her, and if you take that scene out where Gwi-Nam kills her, nothing changes about the drama. Even though she was a very unlikable character, she had a chance at redemption, and the writers took it away from her, and this has left a very sour taste in my mouth. Majority of people watching, a lot more people would be similar to her than they realize. Even though she was very selfish and looked out only for herself, we have instances where she's very detailed and she wants to make sure, and she's extremely scared and worried, and who wouldn't be in a zombie apocalypse? I feel like a lot of people would actually be closer to her than not because of just looking out for yourself and fighting to survive in any way you can, and that's what she was doing. She did it a little bit over the edge in the way that she looked out for herself. There are definitely other ways she could have expressed her feelings, but I feel like she was a very realistic character, one that you would come across in a zombie apocalypse more than not. I just felt like they did not do Na-Yeon justice, so very disappointing in the writers for that. So overall, I give this drama an 8.8 out of 10. Although it had its few missteps that I mentioned, overall it was a very exciting drama that literally every end of every episode was an extremely good cliffhanger that made you want to watch the next one. And thank goodness they released all the episodes at once, otherwise waiting a week for each episode would have driven me crazy. So if you haven't seen the drama, I definitely recommend it. For those that have seen it, the end of season 1, the end of episode 12, signifies and pretty much suggests that there would be a season 2, with the main storyline being just the role of the Hammies and how they will either continue on this zombie outbreak or whether they decide to do good and save the entire society from a zombie outbreak. I feel like there will be a lot of conflict within the Hammy community that will be the driving force behind the drama, but still very interesting. There's a lot of unanswered questions. Is Chung-san actually dead? We see Unjo's name tag that she gave him within the ash, but maybe he turned into a Hammy if they have a strong will to do something. And for Chung-san, that's to make sure Unjo and his friends are safe. Perhaps that turns him into one. Is Gwi-Nam actually dead? Dude has the thickest plot armor known to man and is probably the most hated character in this drama, at least mine. And he might not be dead. It wouldn't shock me if he came back. Eun-Ji, is she dead? Or she was experimented on by the military, but we don't know what's left of her. And then the science teacher who is behind this entire outbreak. We don't know if he's Hammy or he's infected. He didn't look like he turned, but that could also be another storyline. And we'll just see where season 2 leads us, as it'll be very interesting and full of new storylines, and I could not be more excited and can't wait for that to be released. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed that review of the 3 things I loved and hated about All of Us Are Dead and my overall feeling about this drama. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well, and if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Also, since this video is being released on Super Bowl Sunday before the game, my prediction is 30-27 Bengals. Evan McPherson walks it off. Let's hope this ages well.